many refugees has Poland taken?
0. Who are peaceful in Poland, we will not receive even one Muslim because this is what we promised.
But I asked not about illegal immigrants, I asked about refugees. And Jean-Claude Juncker, the Commission President, says that you're racist. You sound proud of the fact that you haven't taken any refugees.
Of course, because this is what our people are expecting from our government. That's number one. This is why our government was elected. But this is why Poland is so safe. This is the reason why we had not even one terrorist attack. Look at the streets in Poland. And we can be called populists, nationalists, racists. I don't care. I care about my family and about my country.
Dominic, is that it? 2 million Ukrainians are okay, but not one Muslim, because that's just how you guys feel about it.
Good evening, Imran. Thank you for having me. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with Islamophobia. It's all about safety. As I said previously, everyone is allowed to apply. Everyone is allowed to submit the documents, ask for a permission, ask for a visa, and then our interior minister will decide if he's needed for our society. The difference between immigration and refugees is a legal difference. You are mixing words. It's very important because the difference is quite big. First of all, refugee is the person who flees to the first safe country by the international law. Immigrant, especially illegal immigrant, is not welcome in Poland. This is what we promised, and these words will be kept. Basically, we are not talking about people who are in need. We are not talking about Muslims. We are talking about a law, international law and Polish law. We don't want any illegal migration in Poland. This is what we promised. This is why our government was elected. And not even one Muslim illegal migrant will come to Poland, ever.
About Muslims. Not all Muslims are terrorists, as you know.
But most terrorists are Muslims.
That's not true, as you know. In fact, that's not actually true. Most of the far-right terrorist attacks in the US this year were from far-right Christians.
If they committed a crime, they should be...
It's funny you say most terrorists are Muslim. This year, one of the worst terrorist attacks that we saw was in New Zealand.
Not Christians,
mostly
non-believers.
One of the worst terrorist attacks this year, one of the most high-profile, was the murder of more than 50 Muslims in New Zealand by a Christian far-right white supremacist.
Yeah, and he's jailed. That's it.
So what? So Muslims are jailed as well? What's your point? Should I blame all white Christians for what that man in New Zealand did?
My point is that the difference between our reaction after the New Zealand was condemnation. I do condemn that, everyone condemning it. After the terror attacks, we can hear from imams. That's the reaction. They are happy,
as you know,
and they want to kill all the infidels.
So that's a lie,
the difference
Dominic.
between Western civilization.
Imams across the world did not applaud terrorist attacks.
You can just Google it. Just Google it.
Okay, you can Google also the Charlie Hebdo attacks.
Okay, you say this is a lie.
It is a lie to say all imams applaud.
News, okay, I can tell.
Okay,
which are safe.
That's got nothing to do with the question. A Christian far-right nationalist carried out an attack in New Zealand. If you're saying Muslims should condemn a Muslim attack, which they did, why didn't you go to New Zealand and condemn that attack? Why didn't you march like Muslim leaders did in Paris? Why didn't you march in Christchurch?
If you think that these Muslims, these preachers, these imams are so peaceful, let them go to Saudi Arabia, let them go to Qatar. If you want to be a refugee, you have to flee to the first safe country, neighbor country. Then you have to apply, you have to prove who you are. And now we are having people in Europe, Poland is not a neighbor of Syria, without documents or with 5 passports, the same picture and different names. That's just a fact from our interior ministers. So it's all about safety. You are trying to put the whole subject in a box of Islamophobia. Even if no believer will gonna come, or Buddhist, we will not let him in if he's illegal. That's it. First of all, as I said, it's against our law. That's number one. It's against our culture. And the culture is very important. As I told you, we are Christian country. We don't want hijra in Poland. We don't want Poland being taken over by Muslims, Buddhists, or someone else. For us, Christianity as identity, as our DNA is very important. And our government has the right to say no. And no one will ever force us to take Muslims, Buddhists, non-believers in huge numbers. But we are helping by sending money, because our government is very straight. We have to help in the place of the conflict in Syria, in Iraq. That's it. Do not force us to do things which our society doesn't want. That's why our